So if the finale of The Bad Batch Season 3, the finale of The Bad Batch entirely, did not convince you that Dave Filoni has another thing coming, he has another show in his mind, then I don't know what will, because literally, a grown-up Omega left an old hunter to go fight for the rebellion. This means that in between those years, there was fighting, there were clones like Rex, Wolf, and Gregor out there, Echo, against the Empire. There's a lot happening between what we saw from the Bad Batch team once they arrived on Pabu and once Omega and older Omega left. There's perhaps a 10-year, 15-year gap there. We still don't know exactly the timeline, but we do know that there's a possibility for another animated show full of clone troopers, former clone troopers, going up against the one entity they once served, the Republic, now going against the Empire. It's either going to be the years in between, so the 19 years after Order 66 and A New Hope, that chunky timeline there that most of the Imperial timeline shows have taken place, or it's either gonna be Omega now going as a pilot for the Rebellion, and this perhaps takes place during the events of Rogue One or Andor, just before A New Hope. I believe that's the case. In either case, I know that we're gonna see Omega meet up with Asajj Ventress, who is still alive, she is still out there. She's gonna meet with an older Rex, Wolf, and Gregor. Perhaps even Echo is out there somewhere, because all of these clones, we still don't know their fate, their ultimate fate. Even in Star Wars Rebels, we still didn't see exactly what happened to those older clones like Rex, so the possibilities are practically endless. Even if we go back during Season 3, there was this special episode where we saw the trio come together. So did you notice that Episode 7 ended with a Rebels reunion? Yes, it was Rex, Wolf, and Gregor. Many did not catch Gregor, but he was behind Rex when Wolf ultimately let him go during their standoff. So all three of them were at the same place at the same time. This is a clear sign of what's to come, because we all know how the three of them will end up in Star Wars Rebels. But I'm gonna do you one even better, to get you convinced, to get you on board that there is another Clone Wars Z type of animation style series coming in the near future. I don't know what's gonna be called, but I know that it's gonna feature these three clones, the adventures of Rex, Wolf, and Gregor as they try to navigate through the Empire and try to save/recruit clones. Let's go immediately and talk about what Nika Futterman said. In a tweet post by Drunk Wookie, the user went on to say, "I met with Nika Futterman, Asajj Ventress' voice actress, at Planet Comic-Con over the weekend. When asked about Asajj in The Bad Batch, she said, 'It's all very exciting, but The Bad Batch is just an appetizer for what's to come.'" Now, this tweet was made a couple of days ago, meaning just this weekend. The actress said not only is Asajj Ventress going to be making her return in The Bad Batch, as we see in the trailer, she is even wielding a yellow orangey lightsaber, but what's even crazier is that this is only the appetizer, meaning we're going to see Asajj Ventress during this Imperial time a lot more than we've anticipated. Now, we know that Asajj Ventress has never made her live-action debut, so Asajj Ventress being more prominent in Star Wars content probably does not mean in a live-action series. It means in this form, in the animated version, which means that there's going to be another animated show after The Bad Batch, a serial one, not like Tales of the Jedi, because Tales of the Jedi are mostly one-off stories that show us a more in-depth for some relevant character here and there. Not saying that there isn't a Asajj Ventress episode in the near future in the Tales of the Jedi, but she said that this is just an appetizer for what's to come, meaning that even if she appears in Tales of the Jedi, it still doesn't give us the full story of Asajj Ventress, meaning that we might not only see Asajj. Do you realize that we might also get Quinlan Voss in animated version? version. He appeared in the Clone Wars series, so he might reappear again during Imperial times. In canon, we still don't know what has happened to Quinlan Vos. As you can see, even in canon, there are many Jedi survivors that went off to escape the Empire after Order 66 and went into hiding. This clearly means that something is brewing inside the Star Wars animated division, especially headed by Dave Filoni. He is now the expert leading up to the Bad Batch. He was in charge together with George Lucas during the Clone Wars era. He directed Star Wars Rebels and wrote for that series, so he knows exactly how Gregor, Rex, and Wolf ended up where they ended up. While Rex may be helping rogue clones and mustering his brothers to fight against the Empire, we know how essentially the story is going to end. It's going to end in a sad, dire note, but who's to say there aren't great adventures in the midst? Again, it would just be the most insane scene ever, the biggest drama you've ever seen in Star Wars if Rex confronts Darth Vader. If the two of them end up against one another and Darth Vader refuses to fight Rex, knowing fully well who he really is, and maybe even revealing somehow the identity of his true self, that he is in fact his old General Skywalker. Again, in canon, there's a lot of things that haven't happened yet. There's a lot of material to be shuffled through. We know that Rex never actually found out what happened to General Skywalker. He probably thinks that he died during Order 66. He was killed as a Jedi inside the Jedi Temple, and that's it. So this new series would probably focus on the trio. Dave Filoni, having been familiar not only during the Clone Wars, but in Star Wars Rebels as well, would create a new version of a series during Rex's fight in the Dark Times, during the Empire. You can see that he has work cut up for him already during the Bad Batch series. But what I am excited is the return of these clones. You saw that in 6 and 7, Wolf, Rex dominated these episodes, and it was for the better, honestly. I saw it as a great turning point where the fans were convinced that if we get a new series by Dave Filoni starring Rex, Wolf, and Gregor, and a whole myriad of other clones that have escaped the Empire and are now fighting, basically laying the grounding foundation for the future rebellion, for the future Rebel Alliance, then that would be just phenomenal. Dave Filoni is already in charge of all of this. He would be a natural to continue a new series with these clones. And I know what you're going to say, well, Wolf is not yet turned. Well, you saw clear hopes of Wolf slowly getting turned in episode 7. First of all, he immediately, when he learns that clones have been involved in the scuffle, he says these are not insurgents, these are clones. In fact, Wolf had thought that most of the people he knew, Rex, Cody, and all of these, had died during Order 66. And you see him during the episode, he's slowly turning against the Empire, even though he doesn't already know it. He doesn't call these guys insurgents, he calls them fellow clones. Then he goes on to confront Rex eye to eye, but he can't do it. Appealing to Wolf, Rex begs his brother to open his eyes and see the truth of the Empire's darkness and what's going on with his fellow brothers. All while Echo and Gregor arrive to provide a well-timed extraction at that point. While Wolf doesn't fully defect right then and there, he does allow all these guys to escape and to leave with Omega, who is extremely important, much more important than Rex. I think this wasn't the last time we're going to see of Wolf in the Bad Batch Season 3. Future episode may see him actually leaving the Empire for good, especially when Hemlock and the others find out what Wolf actually did. What Wolf did in episode 7 by letting Rex and all the others go, he just bought himself a one-way ticket to Tantus. And once Wolf really finds out what the Empire is after and what they're doing on Tantus, you best believe if Crosshair was able to break his loyalty to the Empire after what happened on the Imperial base and what happened on Tantus, then Wolf is gonna do the same. I am sure of that. Nothing is really accidental with Dave Filoni, and I really think that these 2 episodes were a sneak preview of what's to come. A new clone series, a new clone animated series during the Imperial era. It is practically inevitable, I think, so let me know what you think down below in the comments.